the lovely, the wonderful Mylira Green. Woo! Right here on the Michael Coylar Morning Show. Hey, Mylira, how are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Outstanding. So happy. I got a lot of stuff I ain't even getting right, but it don't even matter. I'm so joyful that it just rolls off my back, like the water off the back of a duck, and I just keep on going forward. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I'm excited to be here today. I'm hoping that our audience have some pretty decent relationship questions.
Hmm.
And I just want to just remind people every relationship is going to look different because every person is different. So everything that we talk about on this show, if it's not applicable to you, eat the meat, spit out the bones, and then just make yourself better each and every day. So I'm just excited to be here as always.
I love that. Wait, tell me about the zoo. How was the zoo?
The zoo was actually a long feat. Let's say that. Because it was the last day of a 4-day trip with two little ones. And I didn't know that DC had all that walking, so I don't think we prepared for that. But
Mm.
overall, I will say that we enjoy seeing all the animals and just spending time as a family. So I'm just excited that we were able to get away and show our kids something different.
Yay. Hey, let's see if any relationship questions came up yet. Um, I don't see any. I have one.
Okay.
Do you is there a way of knowing when it's real?
Hmm.
Because I know it's real for me with my queen, my goddess, the lovely Sonia Powers Wardell. I know it's real because of things I feel that I've never felt before. Do we know, or do most of the time we don't know? With the build to the know.
So I think that you never really know for sure. It's to me, as you
Mm.
ask that question, I think of faith, right? And my
Uh-huh.
relationship with God. It's that space of like, I choose to have faith and believe that this is who my higher power is. This is who I
Right.
get my source from. I choose
Mhm.
to believe in the stories and the message. Like it's a choice to do that. I chose to give my life to Him. I believe in the same concept with relationships, meaning that I choose to actually be in this relationship with this person, and I may not 100% ever know if this is 100% the one. But what I normally tell people how to figure out they're not the one is when you have more questions than you have answers. So if you are in
Mm.
a relationship where you find yourself questioning if they're the one, questioning why did they handle it that way, questioning why we always argue about the same thing, if there are way more questions than you guys actually having conversations and engaging with each other, then that may show you a red flag of this might not be the right person for you to be with. And if you don't have a bunch of questions and it just seamlessly happening, it just feel like everything is kind of coming aligned and things are going well, then that may be okay. Because I'm not a big believer on like it takes years and years. And again, it could just be my own story. My husband and I was only dating for 3 months before he proposed to me, and we was married before we was even together for a year. So sometimes it's not even just about timing. It could just be just about trusting what is in front of you and being able to listen to your gut intuition as well.
Let me ask you, when do you address a problem? So if
Hmm.
you're in a relationship and you're like, this bothers me, man. I don't know. When do you address that?
So it's very good to address a problem when it happens, but after you've had the time to process it so that you don't act out of your character. Because sometimes when problems happen, it don't just trigger this moment here, but it makes me think about other things that have happened in my life. So if
Mm.
I know that I'm going to respond to my significant other with a trauma response, I'm going to wait a little bit for me to process it on my own. So when I go and I talk to them, it's done with a place of I love you and I'm going to continue with the intention of upholding you. That's what I would say. So you don't want to like let a problem just fester, but you do want to make sure that when you address the problem, you are ready for that person's response because you may see it as a problem and they may not. So you want to make sure that you spend a little bit of time with yourself, and that can just be 5 or 10 minutes or however long you feel like you need it. But anything that goes longer than 24 hours, you're asking for a problem to happen from that problem. Because now when I
Wow.
throw it at this person, then this person is probably not even thinking about what you're thinking about. And now it's that attack, especially for, sometimes when it comes to women. I've heard men say, y'all just throw things at us. And a lot of times it's because we take some time to process. But in that processing period, we want to make sure it's done in a timely manner. So then we're not moving on with our life. And now I'm bringing on a problem that the other person's like, I thought that was done and that was over with. And it causes a whole nother issue.
So how do we learn that type of self-control? Because I think like when something bothers me, I just want to address it, as opposed to let me sit and think on it for a moment. Let me meditate on it and make sure that my feelings are calm. I'm focused so I can come to it rationally. I know that's the right way, but the humanity in me makes me go, wait a minute, how come? So how do you develop that type of self-control?
So it's practice. So just like we kind of like exercise our muscles for us to grow our strength, we have to do the same thing. So in therapy, we call it fighting fair rules. I get to ask for 5 minutes
Mhm.
to take some time. So when I feel in myself that I'm about to say something to you that if I was normal, I wouldn't say to you, I'm going to ask, look, give me 5 minutes. Then I go and I take my 5 minutes. And if you continue to need it, you get this grace period of 20 minutes. But after that 20 minutes, if you're still upset and angry, now it ain't got nothing to do with your spouse. It got all to do with your mama, your daddy, your friend, and everybody. So when you have these rules, I'm going to ask for me to take 5. So then my spouse know we have 5 minutes. We set an alarm. And if I need to extend it, I get 4 different times to do that. Outside of that 4, then I need to figure out, why did this impact me the way that it did? And then number
Mm.
2, I have a saying. I say we never make permanent decisions based off of temporary emotions. So
Wow.
when I know that I am feeling something, I'm reminding myself that this emotion is temporary. So I'm going to sit with this temporary emotion and think about it. If I respond in this way, what permanent impact is this going to have on my relationship? And if I don't want it to have that level of permanent impact, then me maturely wise, I'm going to sit to the side. And then if I do respond out of my nature, then my spouse can say, we need 5. So sometimes it's not even just you. You might not be strong enough. You might still be in that humanity of, you just pissed me off, or I ain't like that. That rubbed me the wrong way. And your spouse can pick it up and say, hey, he's not acting or she's not acting in the character that I know my spouse normally acts in. So I'm going to request this 5 because you're coming out of a way that I'm going to respond in a way I don't like either. So it's a give and take. It's a support. We have to show up with each other.
Hmm. That's good. That's good. I don't know who has that kind of control, but that's good. I'm sorry, I had a question up. It just got snatched down. Is there a time?
Okay. Is there a time? There we go. Hold on.
Is there a time period after divorce? I saw it. I put up twice. Here it goes again. Is there a time period after divorce for one to start dating?
That is a really good question. And what I normally tell people is, a lot of the times the relationship ended long before you actually get a divorce. And there's really no set time for just one
Hmm.
specific person. So I would never tell somebody you need to wait 6 months, a year, 5 years. No, it's really about, the question is, when did this relationship really end? And then I take the time to heal after this ended. Because when anything ends that once was, you're going to go through the grieving process. We don't just grieve after a death, we grieve after anything that once existed is no longer there anymore. So I
Hmm.
need to make sure that I've addressed how I really feel about this ending. Because what you don't want to happen is you just start dating and now you have a rebound situation that's happening. Then you end up hurting the other person because I'm not really looking for a relationship. I'm just trying to bounce back. So you have to really be with yourself and ask yourself, am I ready to get out there in that space? And it goes back to what we even talked about before. Sometimes don't go out and seek it. If you just got a divorce, be with yourself and ask, well, what caused the demise of this relationship? And take responsibility. It's not always just one person that messed up. You
Yeah.
both had some things that happened. So if I sit with that and I'm dealing with that emotionally, and then I meet someone or I'm going out and you feel like you're well enough, as long as you're not going to bleed on the other person. This is what I tell people all the time. It is not worth being a superhero and having a red cape if the red cape is your blood, because you didn't take the time to heal. So when we are sitting here and we are talking about after divorce, just make sure that you've taken the time to heal. Just like any surgery, just like any injury that you have, it takes some time to heal. If you've done that, then you know what timing is right for you.
Wow. And something you said there, I really want to just piggyback on. Most of the time, the relationship is over before the relationship is over. By the time you get there and say, hey, man, I'm done, so many other things have already sort of ended for you. So I think in answering her question too about when is it time to move forward, I think it's time to move forward whenever you feeling it. You know what I'm saying? If you feeling it, because that thing is over, and everything that happened 10 minutes ago is over anyway. But it's hard for us to break clean and break free from a thing we've been in for a while. It sort of has its human residue that stays with you throughout. But you can. That's why we have meditation and prayer. Through meditation and prayer, you can cleanse all of that out of your spirit, and you can continue to move forward knowing that you have the power and the ability to forgive yourself, and that God ain't never been mad at you in the first place. So all you have to do now is just go forward.
Yeah, okay. And it's big on making sure that as people who are supporting someone post-divorce, I'm really big on this too. Stop speaking on stuff that you don't know the answers to. For some relationships, they didn't get a divorce because things were bad. They may have got a divorce because we are really good friends, and before I mess this up, let's go our separate ways, because if we don't go our separate ways, then we're going to make an issue of doing whatever. So I think a big part of it as well is when people are on the other side, we got to stop speaking the steps that we think that they should take. Don't bring that person around here. Don't go date. Don't go do this. Listen, let people make their own decisions and choices. We never know why a person came to that decision. So instead of us trying to tell them what to do, let's support their steps. Right. And then if they make a mistake, hey, let them learn. It's their lesson. It's not yours. So that's what I do encourage people on the outside looking in. If your friend or your family got a divorce, stop asking questions of the why, because the why is already painful for them. Ask them, how can I show up for you? What do you need me to do? So then that person doesn't feel bad, because for some people, they don't date because they don't want to hear their parents. They don't want to hear their family. They don't want to hurt their kids. But then you have people out here that are miserable and single because they're trying to please everybody else. So listen, literally live your own life. Every day of your life was already created before somebody else had a word that they wanted to share with you. If you are healed and you are okay, go and enjoy and have some fun.
Yay, I love you. Yay. So tell people how we can find you.
Absolutely. You guys can find me at www.myliratransforms.com. On Instagram, I'm Mylira Transforms. Facebook, Mylira Green. And I do have a YouTube channel as well, Transforming with Mylira. And for the Colyar clan, I always give my phone number, because there is no reason for you to suffer in silence. And that is 757-609-0694. So that's where you can find me. And as always, I'm just so grateful to be on today.
I love you, sister. Leave us with a woo, woo, woo.
Woo, woo, woo.
All right, give it up, y'all, for the wonderful and lovely Mylira Green. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you. Get them babies some hugs for me. I hope y'all had fun.
And it's always so beautiful. She's just always like,
thank you. I sure will give everybody hugs.
Yay. Thank you. Hey, y'all, we got to go to prayer now. Got to have prayer. Some of these heathens I be hanging out with over here, we got to